Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Today I have the beautiful Laura Guy, who is an unapologetic energy alignment coach and human design expert. And if you've been following my journey for the last year, 18 months, 2 years, you'll know that part of that journey has been really identifying who I am, like actually answering that question, who are you? And really going into human design, understanding my human design type and how that has completely shifted everything that I'm doing to make every decision. I'm actually focusing on it from a totally different perspective rather than what I've been taught by everybody else. I'm actually going with what feels good to me. So, Laura, welcome to the podcast. So excited to have you on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. Could you just do a little bit more of an introduction on who you are and how you help your clients?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a I'm a mum of two, and I was originally a council estate 9 to 5 minimum wage gal. And I set off into the world of business in 2018, and I started with network marketing, and then I kind of expanded because I totally fell in love with empowering people, especially women, and showing them exactly what they're capable of. And then I stepped into, like, I kind of had a bit of a spiritual awakening in 2021 where my life completely flipped upside down and everything went a little bit woo-woo. So since then, I have been diving into so many different methodologies, but human design is one thing that kept coming back and hitting me in the face. And when I discovered my human design, I am one of the rarest types, so I am a reflector. So we only make up 1% of the population. And it's a journey. I had a whole grieving process when I discovered I was a reflector before I saw the actual magic of it. I was very much like, well, I don't get anything. Like my chart's just completely empty. It's bare. I don't get anything. So once I'd got past that and I'd started looking more into what it means to be a reflector, then I started recognizing certain themes and certain parts of my life where that reflector energy has really kind of poured through. So I started incorporating human design into my business at the back end of last year. So I'm a 5-1 as well. So the one is the investigator. And until we feel confident enough to actually be able to feel like that expert, then we'll kind of just keep studying and just keep going down the roads of all the different rabbit holes. And last year, I finally came to the point where I felt like the true expert. So I stepped into the shoes of a human design expert and started incorporating it in my business. And it's just been such a magical journey, meeting so many different types, being able to offer like my unique wisdom because human design is it's such a personal kind of interpretation. It's not one size fits all. It's you take from it what like the things that mean something to you
Yeah.
and then kind of leave the rest. So it's just kind of flourished from there. But it's just energy and the way that we are made up of energy and how our energy works is just it's my heart topic. I just absolutely love it.
Oh, I love this. Right, I have been going on and on and on about energetic alignment for like, I feel like forever, for months in my podcast, just constantly talking about how when you shift into that full alignment, when you feel really energized, you literally, it's magnetic, isn't it? You literally
Yeah.
attract the things that you want. But from a point of like, I don't know if we could go into maybe the scientific side of things, but how does that actually work for somebody that is very much like maybe not even into all the woo stuff and is just thinking you can't just say things and then they happen? Obviously, that's not going to happen, but it's about embodying that kind of version of you when you have that full energetic alignment. So, what would you say to someone that's just like, okay, I've heard all this before, manifestation, all of that, it's all a bit
Spiritual's a
woo.
load of bullshit, all that
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
stuff.
What would you say
Yeah.
to somebody
So
like
there's
that?
two ways of looking at it. So you've obviously got the woo version, which is your manifestation. It's putting the things out to the universe, the things that you want to attract. But scientifically, manifestation is basically you being able to program your mind to see things. So we've all got something called a reticular activating system. I love talking about this because like ours are always programmed to be negative. Like we grow up in a society that teaches us to look for danger, to look for negative things, to look for the things that are going wrong in the world. We've got mainstream media constantly shoving chaos and carnage in our faces. So most people have got their reticular activating system set to seeing the negative things in the world. And the more you see of that and the more you tune that in, the more your mind is going to show you. It's like you basically kind of putting a program into your system, like the Facebook algorithm. So that algorithm that you've set your mind at is going to show you everything it can find that's going to fit that narrative that you're searching for. So when you start to take accountability for that and you start to actually say, right, okay, I'm going to attract good things in my life. I'm going to think positive. It's like suddenly you take off those stressful glasses and those negative glasses and you put on a new pair where your mind is showing you all of the positives. Like manifestation, when you think of like the red car theory, if you say, I want a Range Rover, I really want a Range Rover, then the spiritual community will say, the universe is giving me signs. It's always giving me signs. But if you are not spiritually inclined, there is the scientific explanation that your reticular activating system, you've told it that that's what you want. So now it's going to keep showing you that. So it's going to keep giving you that kind of kick up the ass to say, right, we're going to keep moving towards this. So as you keep moving towards this, it starts to show you brand new opportunities and it starts to show you the different ways in which you can actually bring this into your reality. So it's kind of, I always see it on a 50-50, and I have some people in my audience that are completely spiritually inclined, and then I have others that are like my husband, for instance, like he's like scientific, he's like logic,
Yeah.
reasoning, all of that kind of shit, all the stuff that I'm just not into. But I like to be able to cover both bases. And I think when you can really grasp the fact that we are all energy, regardless of whether you're spiritually inclined or not, it is scientifically proven that we are all energy and we are all vibrating at a frequency. So that frequency, when you match that to the things that you're trying to kind of call in, then that is you basically putting yourself in that vortex with all of those beautiful things.
Yay, I love it. And it's the same the other way around, isn't it? If you are at a very low frequency, if things just aren't working, if you're feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, tired, like if you're not filling your own cup with things and you're just coming from that lower frequency, that's when things feel hard. You actually attract that back to you, don't you? It's even
Yeah,
like the client saying, no, I can't afford it, and just a constant pattern, and you just feel like you're doomed, basically.
yeah,
So, how would you get out of that kind of rut? If you are somebody that feels like you're in that space, if things just aren't working, you're trying really hard, and I know that can come, that can actually hinder your results, can't it? When you're trying so
yeah.
hard that you're actually forcing it. So, how could you actually almost rewire? Like, what would you do as like a reset option to kind of come back to a good frequency?
So there's so many different things that you can do. Like one of the things that I love the most is visualization. So visualization is one of those things where you can literally like even if you struggle with visualization, and I mean my mum's got is it aphantasia where she
Yeah,
can't actually visualize.
yeah,
But when you actually go and let's say one of my favorite ones is looking through my photo album and looking back at memories. So looking at the memories of my kids when they're laughing, of days out, of things like that, and just really putting yourself in that place where you genuinely feel those good feelings in your body. But one of the biggest issues, again, another kind of symptom of society, is that we've been kind of we've all been taught to disconnect from our bodies and we've all been taught to don't trust your instincts like all of the different beliefs that we've created like putting yourself first is selfish like trusting your don't trust your instinct like everything's got to be fit like based on facts and
yeah.
logic. So all of that creates a disconnect. So when there's a disconnect between your mind and your body, then you're ignoring all of these different feelings that are coming up. Now, as a human design expert and as somebody who uses this like methodology within my coaching, I have come across so many people that when I say to them, "So how does that feel in you?" But they're like, "I don't know." And it's like there is such a huge disconnect, and you need to be connected to your body. Our bodies store all of the emotion, they store all of the things that we have picked up throughout our lifetime. And our mind, all of the programs that are created in our subconscious, are then passed on to the body, and it creates that negative feeling. So we can recognize the negative feeling, but when you're in that feeling all of the time and your nervous system is so dysregulated, then you're not going to recognize that feeling because that's your normal. So when a good feeling comes along, that will feel quite alien. So you've got to really be able to kind of get out of your head, be able to see your thoughts and your beliefs for what they are. They are literally thoughts and beliefs. Most of them, probably 90% of the beliefs that you actually hold about yourself are beliefs that have been created by your environment and the people that you've been around. So when you pull those up and you actually ask yourself, is that true? Is that really true? Do I believe that? Do I genuinely believe that? Then chances are most of the time the answer is going to be no. But our minds also like to create those self-fulfilling prophecies. And those self-fulfilling prophecies are when you're going out and you're trying to force that action and you're constantly kind of hitting a brick wall, then you're getting that self-fulfilling prophecy. Because in your mind, you're telling yourself, well, I'm not capable of doing this. So
Yeah.
you're building that evidence and you've got this huge tower of evidence of where it's not worked because that's exactly what you're looking for. So you've got to be able to get those beliefs, be able to kind of discover what they are at the core, and then be able to pick them apart, prove them wrong. If something isn't a universal truth, for instance, like people like me don't make loads of money. So I would then go and look for evidence that there's people out there like me that have made loads of money. And I would keep filling my subconscious with and flooding it with all of that evidence to say,
Yeah.
well, if it's true for them, why can't it be true for me? So
Yeah.
it's about reframing those thought processes and really making it kind of comfortable within your nervous system so that you can be open to receiving and so that you can shift that vibration in the moment and genuinely feel what's going on inside your body. Take the signals, take the signs. Your body is your compass. It's your guiding light.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I've definitely done that's made a huge difference to me is just not watching the news. Like I do not watch it at all. We
Yeah.
never have it on in the house because, like you say, we're actually being conditioned to see that it's all bad stuff, isn't it? There's hardly
Yeah.
ever good things in our news today. So
Yeah.
to be watching that and absorbing that all the time and just reminding yourself constantly of like all these terrible
Oh
things.
my God, the world is such a shit
Yeah.
place.
It's just not good. Like, and I know that there are awful things happening, and I think that there's two ways to look at it because I do get people that say to me, "But don't you want to know what's going on in the world and like things that you can help with?" And of course, that there are awful things that are happening in the world all the time. Like whether we see it on the news or not, there's always bad things happening. And yes, there probably are things that I can do outside of like my what I'm currently doing. But then the other way of looking at it is like you have this one life, like you're here to create your best version of the life that you can
Yeah.
create. Like, why would I want to absorb all of that negative energy? And that's not only going to affect me, it's going to affect all those other people that are watching it all the time as well.
Yeah.
And most of the people I know that are doing so well that have a like a fully aligned life, like they just feel really energetic and everything, they're having the good life. They don't watch the news. Like it's one of the
Yeah.
very main things that they do, they cut out.
Yeah. See, I watched a documentary. Like, I absolutely love learning, and I dive down rabbit holes, and sometimes you lose me for days on end. And over the past probably 6 months, I've delved a hell of a lot into politics. And just literally today, right, I've had the realization. Like, I sat and I saw something on the X platform, and I was like, this needs to stop. I can't do this anymore. So I've deleted the app because when you think, right, we've all got what I like to call the pyramid of impact. So it's like if you're feeding yourself all of this negativity, then that is going to seep out to every single person you come across. So there's two different ways. Like, yes, people will say, well, you could go out, you could be an activist, you could do this, you could do that. But there's also another way. So while the vibration of the planet is being lowered by all of this negative stuff that's going on, like we know we create our own realities. So if everybody is out there creating their own reality and basically prioritizing them being high vibe, feeling good, prioritizing their impact and going out and making a difference to other people, then that is going to spread. And suddenly you've got something that's bigger than COVID on a positive scale.
Yeah.
So there is the two different ways. And I've gone through the whole, because I mean, the five in my profile, it makes me a disruptor. Like I am here to fuck shit up. I'm here to make a change and to wave that flag. Like the world needs to fucking change, make it happen. So, but you've really got to be discerning about how you actually do that. And the documentary that I watched talking about how the government and the mainstream media have actually used Sigmund Freud's psychology over the past 100 years to condition humans and to condition the collective. Because when people are divided and people are at a point where there's so much hatred going on and these are getting the blame and these are getting the blame, then people are easier to control. So you've got two different narratives. Now, one of the reasons I liked the X platform is because it's unfiltered, it's uncensored. So you saw everything straight from the source. Whereas the mainstream media is very censored and it's very kind of
Yeah.
targeted and it's all propaganda. So it's kind of breaking that split, but it's coming away from it and actually thinking, I want to have a positive impact in the world. I want to be remembered for something positive, and that I actually made a change and made a difference in people's lives by brightening them up.
Yeah. And I think that, like you say, that is such an incredible like transformation that you can have, an impact that you can have on your, not even your clients, but your audience. When you start
Yeah,
showing up as your high vibrational self, feeling in full alignment, you're actually going to make an impact on people that may not even have a conversation with you. It might be a
yeah,
piece of content you've put out there. Like that is incredible. And then that tiny little impact that you've made on that one person creates a ripple effect, doesn't it? On the
yeah. And
people
you've got the
around them.
butterfly effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So
how can somebody find out what their human design is? Like, what can that actually mean for them when they do know what their human design is? Like, how does that actually impact their life?
So the first thing to do is to go to, like, the one that I prefer is mybodygraph.com, but there is an app that I use. It's called HumDescom in the App Store, and the information that that gives you, I genuinely find, like, I've done human design readings with some people, and I've recognized that they're only ready to hear the basics. So I then know when to put that pause button on and to say, right, okay, so we're just going to cover this, because I know that their mind isn't going to digest it and it's not going to be understood. Because
Yeah.
I feel like certain parts of human design are kind of like, I always like to use video games as examples, but it's kind of like a video game. And it's like you need to digest that first point. The first point of recognizing your human design, you obviously read about your profile and your type and things like that, but it's truly embodying your strategy and your authority. So your strategy is basically how you actually kind of put yourself out in the world, how you go and find opportunities, how you respond to opportunities, how you make decisions. So, and then you've got that authority, which is how your body is going to respond to whether that is a yes or whether that is a no. Now, the manifesting generator strategy, I'm always a little bit jealous of that because I'm like, I wish I could do that. And it's like the ones with the sacral authority, for instance, like all they've got to do is ask themselves, does this feel right for me? They ask themselves the yes or no question, and
Yeah.
they genuinely can recognize in their system what that hell yes feels like. Sometimes it feels like a bit of a guttural sound coming from the throat, like, hmm. Sometimes it's like a kind of like instant body, oh my God, yes, yes, I want to do that. So when you start to respond in that way, then you're given the opportunities that are actually meant for you. But for manifesting generators, for instance, it's either a hell yes or it's a no. There's no in between. So if
Yeah.
you've got to kind of sit and you've got to try and make that decision, then that's not something that's going to be aligned for you. And it's going to feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. So there's so many different kind of it can be quite nuanced human design. So you'll see so many different interpretations to it. But what I always find is creating your own interpretation. What does it mean to you on a personal level? When you read through that information, what do you take from that? Because you can listen to people all day long telling you the information and telling you how it's going to be. But when you truly identify with that and see how that feels in your body, see how that feels to you, and you create an action plan based on that, then that's what's going to get you the best results.
Yeah. I love it. And I know that it was almost like a light bulb moment for me when I discovered what mine was. And it's, you realize if there's ever anything that you're trying to do, whether it's in business or in life, and it's just not working, no matter how hard you try, it's not shifting, and you're just wondering why, because everybody else seems to be doing really well in whatever that is. And for some reason, it's just not working for you. When you discover what your human design is, it makes you realize why certain things work really well for you and then other things just don't at all because it's just not in alignment. Like, no matter how much you can tell yourself you want something, if
Yeah.
inside you actually don't feel like you want it, it's not meant for you. Like,
No.
it can totally transform how you think and the actions that you take.
Yeah. And I think this is why it's so important to do the whole deconditioning process. Like when I say deconditioning process, I mean really peeling back the layers of what is buried in your subconscious. Like what kinds of beliefs do you hold about yourself? What kinds of beliefs do you hold about the world and to life and everything else? Because going on to the gobstopper analogy, like when you start to genuinely kind of you peel back these layers and eventually you're going to get to that crispy center. And that crispy center is you at your core. And that's you before you were touched by society and all of the things around you. And before you started to take in all of these beliefs based on what people are telling you and the kinds of things that you've experienced. So when you get to that point, then you are fully in alignment with that self-trust. So you can tune into your body. You know without a doubt it's never going to lead you in the right direction. It's wrong direction. It's always going to lead you in the right direction, is what I meant to say. So, but it's about that self-trust. Like we have for too long as a society expected to look for that external validation and to look for people to give us the go-ahead, to tell us whether we're worthy, to
Yeah.
tell us whether we're capable, to tell us whether we're enough. So when you actually accept the fact that you were born fucking worthy, like abundance is your inherent birthright. Like you were put on this planet as a pure being. And that pure being was then kind of like wrapped in all these layers. Like if you think of the snowball, like you've been going down this hill for so long and you've just been covered in layers and layers and layers of snow. So you've got to really melt those away to get back to what's in the center of you. What are your values? What are your beliefs? What do you want to believe? Because it's all a case of just deconditioning and reprogramming.
Oh my God. I've literally got goosebumps you talking about this. It's so true, isn't it? And this is why I
Yeah.
really wish they would teach this in school because I just think as kids, we are so conditioned to do all of these different things. And I get why they do it because you need to learn like all these different like paths essentially to see what it is that you really enjoy and what you're really good
Yeah.
at. Because obviously what one child is good at, another might not be so good at it. So it's
Yeah.
about finding that, but being told you need to get A, B, or C to be able to pass, to get to that next level, or to go
Yeah,
to
we're
that
taught that
school.
failing is a bad thing and failure is
Yeah,
just experimentation. Failure
exactly.
is an outcome. Failure is something where you can assess that and be like, right, okay, so that experiment didn't work that way. What can we do different? Where
Yeah,
can we tweak this? Where can we shift this? What can we do next time? But
yeah,
we've been taught that failure is like the ultimate kind of um debilitating thing that we could ever face. And
yeah,
it's not, it's absolute bullshit. You've got to fail your way forward in life. You've got to be able, if you avoid failure at all costs, you're never going to find success because you're never going to step outside that comfort zone and that little bubble that you're living in to
yeah,
be able to go and actually try something and put yourself in a situation where sometimes you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes things might feel a little bit scary, but good things happen in the face of fear.
yeah. 100%. And every single successful business owner you see out there has had, I don't even want to call them fails because they're not. They're like lessons,
No.
aren't they? You
Yeah.
always learn from things that don't go right. Like whether it's you didn't sell an offer, whether it is you didn't get that client, whether it is you didn't get that opportunity that you really wanted. Like there's always something to learn from it. And a no is never a no. Like there's always
No.
opportunity to do that again or to do things differently so that then you do have the success. Like failure is not it's not a reason to just stop doing something and it doesn't mean
No.
that you're not good enough at all.
Absolutely not. See, my son's in school. My daughter's home educated, but my son's in school, and he he's really good at maths, but he's when it comes to like he works it out in his head. Like he just comes up with the answers and then he writes them down. But he would be seen as failing on an actual maths test if he didn't show he's working out. So it's
Yeah.
like it's the working out that's the struggle. But there's multiple different ways to actually get to that whatever sum you're doing it's not just a one size fits all. So you've got to, I think, as a parent, you've got to really be able to kind of empower your kids to want to fail a little bit, to
Yeah.
want to be able to think, right, okay, so this didn't work, so what did we do, what can we kind of tweak a little bit, what can we do different next time, because every failure is a lesson for you to learn from. It's something for you to be able to kind of analyze and refine and think, right, how can I do this better next time?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, this has been so good to dive into this. And I think anybody that's listening, I know there's going to be loads of like light bulb moments just from people listening to this one episode of whether it is they want to find out what their human design is, or maybe they already know, but they've been doing things out of alignment still. Just make sure that you take away something. Make sure you drop me and Laura a message to let us know what you thought of this podcast. Laura, how can people get in touch with you? How can they work with you at the moment?
You can find me on any social media platform.
I'm everywhere.
So, at the moment, like I'm building a community at the moment. So my authentic AF community. So authenticity literally is at the heart of everything everything I do. Like it is literally stripping back all of the social conditioning, the conditioning that you've had during your journey as an entrepreneur when you've been scrolling on social media and you've seen this coach say do it this way and this coach say do it this way. But like I literally strip it all back and we get back to those bare bones to think, right, okay, so what does your dream business look like? Like what is in your heart? What message do you want to share? We've been for so long kind of being on social media, scrolling, and then confusing ourselves and filling our minds with so many different ideas of what we should try, how we should do this. Coaches saying, earn 20K a week, do this, do that. And we've bought into that so much that we've suddenly lost that kind of inner direction. So we've got to really be able to get back to that and step away from, right, okay, so I'm not going to try anyone else's methods or I'm going to experiment with them. But at the core, I want to learn what's going to work for me and how I want to work. You cannot build a business. You cannot build a lifestyle around a business. You need to build a business around a lifestyle. It needs to literally be in the heart of everything that you do. So doing it in a way that's going to feel difficult because you're following somebody's methods on the journey of 20K a month, then that's never ever going to suit you and it's never going to be something that is going to be sustainable. So building a sustainable business really does mean getting back to, right, how does my dreamy business look? What do I want to do? How many hours do I want to work? How do I want to show up? What platforms do I want to post on? I'm literally personalizing every single detail within your business. So that is one of the ways you can work with me, my authentic AF community, which is thriving at the moment. And then I also do one-to-one coaching as well to obviously dive deeper into all of this and to support you for 3 months through the deconditioning process. So
amazing. And yeah, definitely get in touch with Laura if you want to find out more about human design. Like I had a couple of calls with Laura and we dived deep into everything. And the light bulb moments that I came out with off the back of that have just been an absolute game changer. I know for my business.
we did 2 human design readings, didn't we? And your first one was a projector and the second one was a generator. And I was like,
yeah, make sure that you get the accurate time of birth before you do that.
And always check as well, wherever you're running your chart, always check which way the date's put in. Because sometimes they have the American date and you can put like the day of your birth at the beginning when in actual fact you're putting that as the month. So just be wary and kind of a little bit discerning of where you're actually putting your date of birth.
Yeah, get it right, because otherwise you just end up confused as hell.
Yeah, you'll be like, what the fuck? I don't even know who I am.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. Make sure that you check out the notes in the podcast episode below where you can get access to all of Laura's links and sign up to her community as well. Hope you've enjoyed this episode and I'll be back next week. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you're ready to unlock the secrets of building your own personal brand, head over to my website, baileyandrue.com, where you can grab my free Brand Brilliance Blueprint today. It's your roadmap to success in the world of branding. And hey, let's stay connected beyond the podcast. Follow me on Instagram at baileyandrue for daily inspiration, behind the scenes insights, and exclusive content to fuel your brand journey. See you there.